Good morning. Welcome back to the channel here. Thank you guys for tuning in. It may or may not be morning when you guys are watching this, or yeah, yep, it's morning. Anyway, ran to the auto parts store, picked up some good old wiring here, 18 and 12 gauge, and my goal here is to get that MR2 right there started. That is my goal today. This is probably going to be a long video, but with it being a long video, we're going to find out. It may or may not be a long video. It's going to be long for me to make it because I have to do a bunch of diagnosis, but I'm sitting in the new parts delivery vehicle for me. Just kidding. No, I'm just borrowing this from my work just to put some miles on it. We needed it to get a little bit more miles on it before we pulled it out of loan car service, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna jump into that, give you guys updates as I'm going along here. So now I just need to take this computer, put it back in the vehicle. Oh, hi. This is officially for sale, by the way. And we're gonna try to get some progress and figure out what's going on with the wiring on this thing. All right, so I have the right side T-top off just so I can easily get to the ignition switch there. But I also need to come in here and I need to start messing around with wiring and figuring out why the computer is not getting any sort of switched power. There's also another couple other things that I can wire up, but I've learned a lot just going over wiring diagrams with Hux Racing and stuff, but I need to figure out a little bit more just to be able to actually get progress made on this. So that's what I'm gonna do. A lot of this is going to be off camera because it's very tedious work and very time consuming, and if I put it all on camera it would be a 6-hour long video. So let's I'm just gonna dive right into it. Guys, I'm gonna give you a little update here on what I have done. So I have pulled off the factory M2 harness here and deleted the wire that I don't need, which is for cooling fans. I have also gone through the N1 harness, I believe it's called, and labeled everything that I need, removed everything that I don't need to keep. So now this will just plug right into the rest of the factory harness. And then I've gone through, my next step is to go through all of this to see what I need to keep. And then I'm gonna just rewire it with some Deutsch connectors just because I don't have any weather pack connectors. So that's just gonna be what I have to do. We're getting there, we're making real good progress. Really happy about that. I need to get rid of this so I can actually put the O2 sensor in and the wideband. All right, I'm finally to a point where I can give you guys a more harness update. So I've got the two larger wires that need power connected up to this, which is way too thick. I think this is like 0 gauge or something, but you know, it's better than being not thick enough. I have the starter wire also wired up to this connector, and then another connector for oil pressure gauge and coolant temp gauge on the dash. But it's slowly but surely coming together. Now I have to mess around with this harness here, which is the Honda harness. These two connectors, I believe, don't get used, but this one gets used for the engine, I believe. This one's for like body control stuff, which it's not in the Honda anymore. So now I'm on to working on these relays and messing around with this harness here, which is also going to connect back into the factory Honda harness that will go and power up the engine, and the factory computer, which I have to double check everything there, and still rewire this as well. But I have to figure out where these wires are going and what they were intended to do, because this is going to plug back into the factory Toyota harness through the Deutsch plug that I had made, but I have to go and figure out where they're going into the computer here and which wires are going to be going to starter, fuel pump, and main power. So that's what I'm working on now, but I've made quite a bit of progress. I also went out to my shed and I, oddly enough, found my wideband, which personally I'm not a fan of AEM. I just don't know. I've worked with Innovate for so long that I'm used to them, but at least got that plugged in. It's not going to have any power, but it's at least going to cover the hole. So when I do get this thing running, it's not just going to spray a bunch of water and exhaust out of there. Slowly but surely though, it's all coming together. And this is the power wire that's going to power all of the interior stuff, which it does get constant 12 volt because you have to turn the key in order for it to be switched power. All right, well, I've created a bit more progress on this, and I have extended the main battery cable that went from over there right over the exhaust manifold. It's very sketchily. So I run it all the way back around here. Don't exactly ask how I extended it, but it's going to work for right now until I can make sure that this car is actually going to run, and then I'm going to buy proper wire that's going to run properly in this engine bay, wherever I run it, from here to here or around here, doesn't matter. But now I just have to work on the extending the ground for the battery cable and working on the conversion harness for the MR2 to Honda computer, and getting everything like that working and figuring out what exactly pinout on the computer is going to run what and where. So that's going to be what I'm working on next, but I'm making progress. I'm making a lot of progress. I'm very, very happy I decided to do this because I just want this thing to drive. I've been wanting this thing to drive since I got it, and I'm actually able to put it in work. It's coming along. Slowly but surely it's coming along. We're getting there. Hope you guys are enjoying this as well. If you guys need any information on it, all the stuff I've been using is from kswapmr2.com. It's all from Hux Racing, H-U-X Racing. I'll leave a link down below. It's they've got a bunch of wiring stuff on it, and I basically had to just go and rewire almost everything there and extend some of the harnesses so I can properly place everything in the vehicle. But it's coming along. I'm glad. I've been working on this for way too long, so I decided to phone a friend because my brain is just absolutely fried, and I just can't think of where to put the wires anymore. So I've been working on it way too hard. I want to see this thing run tonight, and my friend does as well, so he's going to come over, help me for a bit. I've started working on wiring the relays up to the other connector that also plugs into the harness for the computer. Of course, everything over here is pretty much done. I did at least wire in the ground for the battery, so it is quite a bit longer. It's gonna get the job done. It's not pretty, it's not perfect. I just wanna get this thing started, make sure it's gonna run, make sure the engine itself is good, so I don't have to pull it, just so I can plan for anything that I have to do. Because if this thing is knocking, anything like that, I wanna make sure I can just pull it, do the wiring all at the same time. But of course, after I get it running, I'm gonna probably rewire it anyway. So let's fast forward to that. All right, so I decided to phone a friend, Brandon here, and we are just jerry-rigging this whole thing to be able to work, because main power for some reason isn't triggering, so we're just gonna jumper where the relay is and the fuel pump. So we've got that, and we've got a button in there just to be able to press right there.
Off a bomb.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're gonna get this going right now. All right, so here we go.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Hit throttle.
Nope. Well,
everything being powered?
That's a good question. Okay. All right, this time with just brake clean. You said 2 sprays.
2 good sprays with throttle body wide open.
Come
By
on.
the way, it might sound like a gunshot. It's fine, we're in the get-up.
All right.
That's what
Okay.
that's a lot. Okay, close throttle body. Alright. I would cover your ears if I were you.
Okay. Okay.
It's not good fuel.
All right. Well, there we go. It also keeps losing fuel pressure, like there's no fuel pressure right now.
Weird. I don't know why. It's almost like we have no pleasure.
Well, I'm saying, like the Talon, it sits for days, and it's like like before I started it up, the other day, it hadn't started in like 2 months, and I go out there, It does. But the fuel pressure gauge showed still sitting at 45 PSI, just sitting. And I'm like, I don't know why this would be losing fuel pressure.
So what it could be is, you said this is stock tune, right?
Yeah.
So what size are those injectors?
Yes.
Okay, so that's probably what it is. It's probably getting way too much fuel for what it is. So if we put that back on, you're gonna have to find a happy spot for all that fuel that's getting chugged in there.
Let's try it and see what happens. Because maybe we also didn't let it prime long enough.
Oh no, they prime long enough. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. No, you're gonna have to hold it. I wonder if the ECU isn't seeing TPS. It's not supplying fuel.
No,
because it could be.
Well, the throttle position sensor's plugged in.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's that other one? What's the other one?
It's like a map sensor, and one of them looks like a map sensor, and one of them is. That doesn't even belong on the throttle body. That's just attached there. I don't know what that is.
It probably need a map too.
You know what it could be if it's on a stock tune? It's probably looking for a map.
Maybe. You could be right on that.
Because this thing doesn't have a MAF.
It doesn't sound. It's not getting cranking fuel. I mean, we can get it running and keep it running with a nice little squirt constant. But
yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I've made so much progress with everything, with wiring, trying to figure everything out, getting power to the computer, and now we just got to figure out why the injectors aren't firing and kind of go from there. But I just need to get a tuning cable for this so I can plug it up to a laptop, figure out why it's not working. I have it Bluetooth through my app through the phone, and it shows the injectors are firing, but it's clearly not. You can't hear them clicking, you can't feel them clicking, and it's just not, it's not wanting to work. Now I just have to rewire these relays so they'll actually get switched power, so they'll actually trigger the fuel pump and the main power relay, so it'll actually turn the computer on. But that's all real simple. I can probably pull something from that harness potentially, but yeah, it's slowly but surely coming along. At some point I'm going to have to also rewire the inside here where this jerry-rigged switch is, because this was triggering the starter yesterday since we couldn't get the ignition switch to work. But the ignition switch is getting power because it turns everything inside on, but it's just not making any sort of sense. But slowly but surely, this thing is going to be running, and running very soon. Once I can figure out why the injectors aren't firing and the tuning portion of it, which literally just could be a tune, it could just be the injectors aren't firing enough fuel. We just have to figure that out, get it running, and then it's also going back under the knife so I can rewire everything properly. Run proper wires everywhere, how I want them to go, and just make it really, really good. So hope you guys did enjoy. Please like, subscribe, and share. Definitely make sure you slap that subscribe button. And just remember, don't quit on a body that won't quit.